Hello and welcome. I'm Ijoma Onyato. Tonight, the central bank releases its grip on the Naira, releases a set of guidelines for the implementation of a flexible foreign exchange market. The federal government resolves to adopt external borrowing to bridge the gap in infrastructure funding. Governor Akinwumi Ambode throws his weight behind efforts geared towards fighting cancer in the country. And Egyptian investigators say wreckage of the Egypt Air Paris-Cairo flight has been found in the Mediterranean 1 month after the crash.
On Business News tonight, currency dealers to discuss central bank's new forex guidelines.
And in sports news, the Tigers miss out of this year's Olympics following South Korea's win over Belarus at the FIBA qualifier in France.
And from Abuja, I'm Gloria Umezuke. Senate President Bukola Saraki once again asked CCT Chairman Umar Abdullahi to disqualify himself from his ongoing trial.
We begin tonight with the Central Bank of Nigeria's announcement of a new flexible foreign exchange policy. Now, this comes ahead of a forex interbank trading window that's expected to clear out pending demands by increasing dollar supply and remove controls on the Naira through a single market structure operation. Speaking in Abuja, the CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele notes that the bank will appoint about 10 primary dealers. Each of these dealers is expected to have a minimum trading volume of $10 million while adhering to the highest levels of professionalism and transparency.
The market shall operate as a single market structure through the interbank and autonomous window. 2. The exchange rate will be purely market-driven using the Thomson Reuters and FMDQ order matching system as well as the conventional dealing book. 3. The CBN will participate in the market through periodic interventions to either buy or sell foreign exchange as the need arises. 4. To improve the dynamics of the market, we will introduce FX primary dealers who would be registered by the CBN to deal directly with the bank for large trade sizes on a two-way quote basis. 5. These primary dealers shall operate with other dealers in the interbank market, amongst other obligations that will be stipulated in the Foreign Exchange Primary Dealers Guidelines, which would also be released immediately after this press briefing. 6. There shall be no predetermined spreads on foreign exchange spot transactions executed through the CBN intervention with primary dealers, while all FX spot purchases by authorized dealers are transferable in the interbank foreign exchange market. The CBN shall introduce non-deliverable over-the-counter Naira-settled futures with daily rates on the CBN-approved FMDQ trading and reporting system. This is an entirely new product in the Nigerian foreign exchange market, which would help moderate volatility in the exchange rate by moving non-urgent FX demand from the spot to the futures market. 12. The OTC FX futures shall be in non-standardized amounts and different fixed tenors, which may be sold on any dates, thereby ensuring bespoke maturity dates.
CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele. Meanwhile, the federal government is adopting a new debt management strategy for 2016 to 2019 to replace the previous one, which expired in December 2015. This was one of the decisions reached at the Federal Executive Council meeting, where the Council also resolved to go for more external borrowing to achieve its aim of stimulating the economy and providing the infrastructure that the nation needs. The Minister of Finance, Mrs. Kemi Adeosun, announced this to State House correspondents at the end of the meeting presided over by the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo.
The government recognises that for the next 3 years, to really stimulate this economy and to provide the infrastructure that we will need to be borrowing. So we need to borrow at the most cost-effective rates and under the most cost-effective and beneficial terms. And also, the government recognises that there is a need to stimulate the private sector. For the private sector to really grow, banks must lend to the private sector. So we don't want government borrowing crowding out the private sector. So the government has taken a strategic decision that where possible, we will borrow more externally. That is external debt in dollars or in other currencies, because the interest rates are cheaper, the tenures are longer, and thirdly, it means that there's more room for banks to lend to private sectors, especially small and medium sizes. So the strategy was approved and by the Federal Executive Council after much debate, and the Federal Executive Council were approving it, but gave some guidance as to the thinking behind it, which was that as we're moving more of our debt to dollar, we need to focus more on export, especially non-oil export. And a discussion was held around how do we make export easier.
All right, now let's move on to something else before we get to our discussion of the day. Now, the Lagos State government has reiterated its support for individual and corporate initiatives aimed at eradicating cancer in Nigeria. Governor Akinwumi Ambode made this known during a special luncheon organized by the committee encouraging corporate philanthropy to raise funds for the establishment of cancer centers and provision of mobile cancer units.
This special luncheon, hashtagged Giving Tuesday, coincided with Governor Akinwumi Ambode's 53rd birthday. Beyond the celebration, it's a call to service. The committee encouraging corporate philanthropy had put together this event to seek support for those living with cancer.
Cancer not only affects the direct sufferer, but also the family and society at large. I am happy to let you know that as we speak, the pilot set of MCCs, that is mobile cancer centers, have already been ordered. Today is a day of celebration because Governor Ambode is giving us all the opportunity to share through the giving in the great joy of saving millions of precious lives, especially the lives of the unfortunate 240 Nigerians who die every day from preventable cancer. Together we can. You can. I can. Yes, we all can.
The target for the event was to raise funds to set up cancer centers and purchase mobile cancer units for the 3 senatorial districts in the state. Governor Ambode took the responsibility to meet every individual present to donate to this worthy cause. At the end, an undisclosed amount was realized, while 4 mobile cancer units, each costing about $600,000, were pledged to be purchased by organizations.
I'm very glad to throw my weight behind this initiative, particularly given the significant positive impact that this cause could potentially have on society. We can only achieve this goal with the generous support of all people of goodwill. Without these donations, the goal will not be reached and the opportunity to save lives will be lost.
Governor Ambode was also decorated as a state patron of the committee encouraging corporate philanthropy.
In part 2, after the break, House of Representatives holds a public hearing on revenue leakages at the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency. And we'll take another look at the CBN's new foreign market policy. I'll be joined by the Chief Executive of Economic Associates, Dr.